Akira Tendo, an office worker in the commercial production industry, is watching a horror movie at night. That night, he watches a movie where everyone in the movie is a zombie, except the main character, who keeps running away from the zombies and keeps trying to dodge their attacks. No matter how much he runs and tries to escape, they still catch up with him, and they try to frustrate him at every moment. Even when he feels he has escaped, it dawns on him that there is no escape for him. No matter how he runs, they will still be more. Just as he dodges towards a corner, another undead in that corner becomes a zombie. The zombie chases him, and at this point, he can't help but scream for help and ask anyone around to come to his rescue, especially when a zombie falls from a helicopter. He tells himself that he is in hell and wants to escape. He begs anyone around to please take him away from the hell. Watching the movie, Akira says that what the main character is going through is in hell. He claims hell is exactly what he is going through in his office. Looking at Akira, his entire face is filled with eye bags. He looks sleep-starved and tired. He looks exhausted, and his entire room is scattered with bins around the house. That night, he sits with his cold noodles, which he has bought on his way from work. That night, he thinks about his life and the life of the main character in that movie, saying that he would prefer to live the kind of life than the life he is living at his office. He looks at his phone to check the time, and when he checks, he sees it as a few minutes to 4, and they are already midnight here. He reminds himself that he needs to sleep early, not because of any other reason but because he has to go to work tomorrow morning. Thinking about work, he gets extra scared and tired again, and he dozes off. The following day, just like every other day, he goes to face his nightmare, which he calls work, and he dresses to go to work without knowing when next he will return home for the night. You may wonder how he has found himself in that situation. It all started about 3 years ago. Akira Tendo is a new graduate of K University and wants to work in the entertainment industry. He loves the kind of job, and his major intention was to get a job in a commercial production company. His prayers and wishes get answered when he got his job at the office. He goes to work suited in a tie and happy to work. He is excited to start his new work, and that day, the office owner tells him he will be working in the production department. He asks him to introduce himself to his colleagues, and Akira bows to greet his colleagues. At that point, everyone in the office still looks radiant and beautiful. They are also happy to meet him, and they welcome him. The CEO also takes him to his department manager, Kasugi, who greets him excitedly, telling him that if he has any issue throughout his duty, he should come to him and let them resolve it. Akira is more excited about his work because he will produce commercials for celebrities and companies. He hopes that one day he will at least meet some celebrities. The CEO takes him to where his seat would be in that office, and as he is about to settle, another female worker in the company, Sori Otori, carries her files and walks behind him, greeting some of the workers. Miss Otori mistakenly hits Akira, and her books fall. Akira bends and apologizes to her. He helps her pack some of the books, but she tells him she is the one who isn't looking in the direction of where she is going. As he is about to give her the books he packed, he sees how radiantly beautiful she is. She is shining like a diamond, and her physical qualities are also second to none. He falls in love immediately, and the smiles on her face take him to another realm. She brings him back by talking to him and tells him that she works in the accounting department. She tells him that if he needs any help while dealing with receipts and other things, he can come to her. She even shows him where her seat is in the office. So, he can have easy access to see her. Just as she leaves, he comments that she is very beautiful. His first day at work doesn't seem like stress to him, mainly because just as he assumed they were done with the work hours, the CEO takes him and the other members of the company to a work welcome dinner where they all get to know each other. The other workers ask him several questions like where he was schooled. He tells them he was schooled at K University, and they also comment that the university is very good. They tell him that he has a built body, so he informs them that he played sports while in school, and he is a professional rugby player. They appreciate his strength and body, saying that they are glad they have a dependable person and an able team member. In fact, one of the staff tells him that he doesn't need to wear ties to work because their kind of job isn't one where things like ties are very important. I guess he should have gotten all the tips he wants from that statement, but he actually doesn't consider the statement as much as he wants to. He sees Miss Otori from afar off, and she cheers to him with her cup of juice. Seeing her again, he says she is very cute. He attempts to stand up from his seat, telling his colleagues that he will see them the next day, but he sees that they all stand up again. This time around, their eyes show their eye bags, and they wear their company tags and say they are returning to the office. Akira keeps wondering why they are going back to the office at that late hour. He follows them, and that night begins his chapter of doom in that office. They all work late at night, and he doesn't go home that day. The following morning, he wakes after taking a nap on his work table, and immediately after waking, he continues his work. He hoped he could go out for lunch, but to his shock, all he could eat was some food at a convenience store. The time keeps moving as his worries keep increasing. Best believe he keeps looking at the time, hoping for when he will leave the office, and unfortunately, he doesn't get an opportunity to leave until about 2 days. Eventually, he starts going home. He is so tired and exhausted. He walks home wondering if his workplace is like the other ones where they use the staff. He returns home and sleeps after just a few minutes of nap. His alarm wakes him up that it is morning. He wonders if he should go back to that same workplace, but he remembers that he has worked himself hard to get there, and that is his dream workplace. He encourages himself, whether or not he should go there, and he decides that he is living his dream, and it won't be a bad thing if he puts in the effort. He returns to work, watches as the staff compete about who works more overtime, even without collecting their pay, and watches as his manager shouts at some of his colleagues and sees the girl crying after the manager shouts citizens in this epidemic, but before she can finish her speech, a zombie finishes her off. After seeing the news, Akira finally starts to realize how bad things are in the world and wonders if someone will ever find a cure. Akira doesn't want to play hero just because he is alive, so he decides to spend his day sitting here idly drinking beer. However, he sees that he has already run out of beer, and disaster finally strikes him. He wonders what he should do as he cannot slack off all day without his beer, and ends up deciding to go outside to find beer. But as he peeks at the outside world, he realizes he stands no chance against the undead zombies. So Akira looks at his empty beer can once again and wonders which he should pick, his life or a harmful drink. On the other hand, a husband and wife stand behind the door waiting for their end as the zombies have almost infiltrated their way in. The wife, Miss Kasaka, loses all hope, as she knows that the police force has turned into zombies as well. Her husband, Mr. Kasaka, tells her not to give up just yet and believes that a miracle would happen if they just sat in their apartment. But his wife knows they have no chance of surviving at all. So Mr. Kasaka goes out on the balcony, wondering what he should do to save his loved one and hopes that someone will help them out. That's when he sees Akira climbing down right beside him using a pipe and gets completely thrown off. It causes the couple more shock to see a living, breathing human than a horde of zombies. Akira explains that he is only using this pipe to climb down as the stairwell in his building is crawling with zombies. The Kasaka couple offers Akira their help and tells him to come in as they believe they will be safe together inside. However, Akira doesn't want their help and explains to them that he is actually going to the outside world. He introduces himself to the couple and tells them he lives just next door. After a basic introduction, Akira mentions to the couple that he is actually going to the convenience store and asks them if they need him to bring them some stuff as well. As he swiftly jumps down, Miss Kasaka hesitantly asks him to bring some toilet paper on his way back. Akira gives them a thumbs up and goes on his way, attracting many zombies. In the meantime, he manages to outrun the horde of zombies by riding a bike and eagerly waits for the moment when he will get a chance to eat a beer. Shortly after, Akira reaches the convenience store totally unscathed and doesn't notice that a mysterious camera attached to another bike is keeping an eye on his movements. He looks for beer in the store and finds something tastier, a living, breathing woman. The girl named Shizuka sees Akira but acts as if she doesn't care and proceeds to do her own shopping. Akira tries to small talk with her, but she doesn't seem to care and minds her own business. Still, he keeps following her and even asks for her contact information. So she finally speaks up and explains why she is ignoring him. Shizuka explains that she cannot team up with someone so ignorant and reckless, that they would just risk their lives because of some beer. That's why she thinks she cannot team up with him. Right at that very moment, a few zombies sneak behind the girl, and even though Akira just got insulted, he goes in front of her to become a human shield for her. Yet she becomes the one to save Akira, pulling him back in the nick of time as a truck runs into the store and cruises the zombie. Akira is left completely amazed. But before he can thank Shizuka for saving him, she leaves the place. But at the same time enters the heart of Akira. Akira notices that his bike has broken down too because of the truck, so he makes a run for it as he sees a zombie begin to chase him. Conveniently, there's a scooter parked right around the corner for our protagonist, and he uses it to safely outrun the zombies. On his way back, Akira notices everyone's dream bike parked on the road and decides to have an Uber for his ride. He then rides the bike and even does an impressive stunt, ending the short journey with quite a thrill. Akira then climbs up the ladder and remembers that Miss Kasaka had told him to buy toilet paper. Since there's no point in going back, Akira decides to offer the couple some beer to please and jumps into their balcony. But what he sees completely breaks his heart. As soon as he enters the Kasaka couple's apartment, he finds that they have already met their end. Seeing such a tragedy, Akira realizes how precious life is and decides to survive this apocalypse so that he can die at the proper time and in old age. He opens up his notebook and adds a bucket list of what he wants to do before his time comes. The first thing that Akira writes on his bucket list is that he wants to confess to the girl he loves. Akira has done that already, so he writes the second one, to clean his room, which he has also done, followed by drinking beer all day and riding a bike, which he has also done. So he marks out all 4 of these tasks. For the 5th task, Akira wonders what he should do and decides to try out dreadlocks. He then keeps writing similar stupid tasks on his bucket list, but he only manages to write 30 of them. He wonders what he really wants to do and remembers his farmer father working hard in the village. So he decides to go home and spend time with his parents if he can. One day after adding some more wishes, Akira closes the notebook and ends his second day of the zombie apocalypse. On the other side, we get to see the perspective of the same day of the girl who Akira met at the store earlier. The girl, Shizuka, wakes up right at 6 o'clock in the morning and begins exercising right away. While exercising, she listens to the emergency broadcast that gives a similar warning to humans to stay locked inside. After running on the treadmill for an hour, Shizuka finally takes a break and begins drinking proteins and vitamins. Then she tries to contact emergency services from everywhere around the world. After failing to do so, unlike Akira, who wrote 100 things that he wanted to do before becoming a zombie, Shizuka writes the 100 things she needs to do so that she doesn't become a zombie. Somewhere else, a man ties his boots while running out of breath and reveals that he has escaped the zombie apocalypse. But as he begins to celebrate, a zombie bites him and kills him. The end credits start rolling as we realize that this was just a movie that Shizuka was watching. She explains that she only watched this movie to learn more about zombies and has figured out that there are 2 types of zombies, one that walks and the other that runs. She keeps analyzing more zombies in the real world and identifying which ones are more dangerous than others in her area. After analyzing, she goes out to the convenience store and buys the stuff she needs to help her survive. Her mind tells her to get a cupcake too, but she resists herself as she needs to keep herself in full fitness to survive the apocalypse. So instead, she takes drinking water right then. Shizuka hears someone singing about drinking beer and enjoying life, and she sees Akira for the first time. She wonders why someone in this apocalypse can be so carefree. She looks at the surveillance cam and realizes that Akira has led many zombies in this area, so she realizes that she has to quickly leave this place, as they are still quite far behind. Akira keeps trying to talk to her, so she begins to think he is a short-sighted person who is unable to think beyond the present moment. So she ignores him and wonders why someone like him ended up surviving out of everyone. Shizuka then suddenly hears a car horn outside and realizes that she can no longer go out, as zombies will be coming here in hordes. After hearing the noise, she wonders how she will get through this place and looks at the surveillance to see that a zombie is driving the truck. So she realizes that she might have a chance to escape. And before leaving, she gives Akira the advice to analyze the risks and change his path. She sees the zombies coming near her but waits for them to come at her at the right moment so that she can make a proper calculated escape. Once the out-of-control truck hits the convenience store, Akira ruins her plan and jumps in front of her. Still, she saves him from being crushed by the truck in the nick of time. After the complete annihilation of the store, Shizuka still thinks that her plan went well, as the zombies that were in front of her got crushed, and she got to escape. She then returns home and reviews what her surveillance camera captured today. In the footage, she again sees Akira rambling about beer, so she wonders how someone can be happy in a state of emergency just because of a beer. She wonders if she would have become happy just like Akira if she had grabbed the cupcake from the store back then. This episode begins by showing three new faces, Kaido, Haruki, and Shu. A girl cries seeing their picture and questions why this is happening. She calls for her mother and father, who have probably passed away in this zombie apocalypse. When the first guy in the picture, Shu, comes to calm her, he offers the girl a drink and assures her that everything will be alright from now on. He pats her head. Kaido saves him from dying in time, and then later, the two friends get naked together and reconcile with each other. Hensho tells Akira that he wants to pursue being a stand-up comedian one day if this apocalypse ends. Akira tells Kensho that he never expected him to cry out like a baby back then, and what surprised him more is that Kensho jumped off the buck naked too. Kensho says that his clothes were made of highly sophisticated material that was easy to get off, and he explains that he only took them off to celebrate his rebirth as an entertainer. Kensho then tells Akira a naked joke, so Akira asks why he always does naked jokes. Kensho explains that he likes it and decides to do more jokes from now on as he will become a stand-up comedian, which is his dream job. Kensho tells Akira how he repeatedly wishes to stand on a stage with a full audience watching him, so he asks Akira if he has any connections from work that can help him do stand-up comedy. But hearing the word work, Akira denies ever having done any work, implying that he has moved on from his life. Kensho reminds him that he was the one looking like a zombie when he was dying from working at the exploitative company. In fact, Akira even looked worse than the zombies back then. Akira gets a little hurt hearing that and tells Kensho that he can never be a stand-up comedian. But both of them know that they are just joking with each other and drinking beer together, enjoying the clear night view. Kensho again mentions how amazing Akira looked today and how daring he was. A guy who quits their job, drops everything, and moves on with their life tends to be really successful later on, according to Kensho. So he believes both of them will also become super successful in their lives once the apocalypse is over. Kensho wonders if Akira will turn out to be an entrepreneur, an artist, or even the guy who saves humanity from the zombie apocalypse itself. Akira wonders if he wants to be that guy and tells Kensho that it's never going to happen, as he doesn't think of himself as a hero. Both of them laugh again hysterically like old friends do, and Kensho comes up with a new bit for his stand-up comedy. Akira assumes that the bit probably involves him getting naked, and they both begin to laugh once again. That's it for this one. Did you enjoy this recap? If you did, kindly like this video and subscribe to our channel so we can bring you the recap of the next episodes of this exciting anime series.